Power pose. Power pose. My husband is like, what the hell are you doing? Hey guys, welcome back. Oops. That's what happens when you balance your notebook on your kid's dump truck. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about tips and ideas for your physical self-care. This is the second video of our 3-part self-care series. I'll link the first video down below that gives you 5 reasons why you should practice self-care. But today's video is specifically about tips and ideas for your physical self-care. The reason why I wanted to make this just one solid video and dedicate this topic to one whole video is because our mental and emotional issues, my mental and emotional issues, were easier for me to tackle from a healthier body. So what I'm trying to say is that it's easier for us to tackle our mental and emotional struggles when we are physically well. I was so bad at my physical self-care, and I actually had no idea what physical self-care was. I literally never even heard of it until I started going to therapy at the beginning of this year. It was so important to my psychologist to teach me this skill to practice self-care, especially for my physical body, that she actually made me focus on this first. She believed that my mental and emotional well-being would follow after I started by taking care of my physical body, if that makes sense. One of the ideas I want to start this video off on is this quote I heard from Rachel Hollis. If you haven't heard of Rachel Hollis, you should definitely look her up. She's amazing. She's on YouTube, Instagram, and she just wrote a book that everyone's raving about called Girl Wash Your Face. One of the things I loved in her book, where she was talking about her struggle as a workaholic, which I totally relate to, is the fact that whenever she talks to women at conferences and different speaking events, she asks them what their priorities were, and everyone's priorities were pretty similar. I mean, they varied in terms of what came first and what came second, etc. But it was always like family, faith, my career. But she said the one common thing amongst all of these women, amongst their priorities, is that they were not on their list. No one put themselves on the list. And I am definitely one of those people that never put myself on the list. And I daily struggle to put myself on my priority list. As I've been working with a psychologist for almost a year now, she has stressed the importance of physical self-care. Yes, there's a lot of work that has to be specifically done for your mental well-being, your emotional well-being. But when you take care of the physical first, it's like the other things are just a little bit easier. So the first thing I want to encourage you to do is to realize that you need to be on your list of priorities, because life can be busy, life can be hectic. And if you don't have your list of priorities, if you don't know what is important to you, and if you don't put yourself on that list, odds are you're not going to be taking care of yourself. And if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not really going to be able to enjoy life. If you struggle with anything mentally or emotionally, past baggage, current baggage, future anxiety, whatever, know that if you start with the physical, if you start by taking care of your body, it's going to be so much easier for you to tackle your issues that are plaguing your mind and your emotions. So in this video, I'm actually going to be going through 4 things that I do for my self-care. There, of course, are a ton of things you could do for your physical self-care, but I wanted to focus on the things that I actually do because I want to be able to offer you guys practical advice. I really think that in this current day and age, self-care is really seen as like going to the spa or treating yourself, going to the salon, whatever. And not all of us have the money to do that, you know? Not all of us can do that all the time. It's not really practical. And what I think is super important is choosing practical things for your self-care so that they're sustainable, so that you can do them regularly and consistently. That's why I call self-care a practice, because it's something you need to do regularly, and you're not always going to be perfect at it, but you do need to practice it. So one of my first tips for self-care in general is it needs to be scheduled. If you do not schedule your self-care, it will not happen. We are all busy. We all have a lot going on. I just had a baby. She's almost 9 weeks old, and I have a 2-year-old. So life is a little bit hectic. I'm in a huge period of adjustment right now. There's a lot going on. I also take care of my brother, and I can have a full plate sometimes, or most of the time it feels like. So if I don't schedule my self-care, it just doesn't happen. This goes back to having yourself on your list of priorities so that when you feel frazzled and overwhelmed, you can go back to that list of priorities and go, okay, is my schedule lining up with my list of priorities? And if you're on your list of priorities, you're not going to forget that you need to be on your schedule. Your self-care needs to be planned. On the weeks that I'm not intentional about scheduling when I'm going to go out, when I'm going to take that break, when I'm going to exercise, when I'm going to, take a hot shower even, if I don't be intentional and really plan when that's going to happen, it honestly doesn't. Having 2 young kids, I feel like I'm hustling most of the day. Then all of a sudden it's 11 o'clock at night and I realize I haven't taken a shower. That's just the honest truth. I'm just in this time of my life right now where young kids are, they rely a lot on me. And if I don't plan and schedule to take care of Mia, it's just really not not going to happen. The next tip I want to leave you with is asking yourself a series of questions. When it comes to your physical self-care, it can be really easy to forget the most basic things that your body needs. So ask yourself, am I hungry? Am I tired? Am I in pain? These questions can really prompt you to ask yourself if you're fulfilling your most basic needs. Rest and food are really the most basic things that you need to function in a day. So if you haven't done those two things, you're not really setting yourself up to have a successful day. So just recapping on the tip, number one is schedule your self-care. And number two is ask yourself the basic questions. Am I hungry? Am I tired? Am I in pain? Of course, there's a bunch of other questions you can ask, but those are the three that are easiest for me to remember. And those are the three that I usually need to address first in order for me to kind of feel better and move on to the next step of the day. So once you ask yourself those questions, the next thing you want to do is ask yourself what you need to fill that need and when you're going to do it. So if you're hungry, you ask yourself, okay, what can I eat? If you're tired, what do I need to do to fulfill that need? Obviously, taking a nap or getting some sleep is the most obvious, but sometimes it's not an option. For instance, if it's the middle of the day and my toddler has a ton of energy and I'm tired, what can you do in that moment to kind of get some rest even though you are taking care of a child? Because a lot of times we'll realize, oh, I'm really tired right now, or oh, I'm really hungry. And then if you don't in your brain plan when you're going to do something, it's so easy to get caught up in the next task. A lot of times I'll be working and I'll think, oh, I'm really hungry right now. I'm starting to feel a little bit cranky, a little bit nauseous, but I'll just want to finish this email, or I just want to finish this chapter or whatever, or I just need to change this diaper. If you don't take care of that need right when you realize that you have it, a lot of times you're going to forget about it. And if you can't take care of the need in that moment, say because your toddler is melting down, then just make a mental note. I'm hungry, and as soon as I calm my son down, I'm going to go get a snack. The way our brains tend to work, especially when we're overwhelmed, is we'll think of something that we need to do, but if we have a lot going on at the moment and our brains are feeling really overwhelmed, we'll end up just throwing away that thought. An example of how I schedule my physical self-care is my phone reminds me every single night to take my vitamins. That may sound ridiculous to some of you, but a lot of things in my life, because I'm so busy and because I have different things demanding my time and attention, it's hard for me to remember things like take your vitamins. It's hard for me to remember things like drink your water. So scheduling things into your phone so that a notification pops up is one of the easiest ways for you to remember some physical self-care practices. So let's jump into the actual ways that I care for my physical well-being. The first thing is I keep healthy food on hand. This one's really important for me because I have a fast metabolism and I'm breastfeeding, so I'm always really hungry. And if I let that hunger go too long, I will get headaches, I'll get really irritable and really impatient, which is not fun for anyone I'm around. It's not fun for me either. So having healthy snacks on hand that do not require a lot of preparation. So for me, it's like grapes, apples. I keep a lot of peanut butter in the house. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are my go-to on like a really hearty, like whole grain bread. Something that's simple for you to just throw together in 2 minutes and eat, and it's not like you just stuffed a bunch of Oreos in your mouth or whatever, which sometimes I do, don't get me wrong, but when I'm hungry and I reach for something that's gonna be filling and healthy, it'll give me the energy that I need, it'll satiate my hunger, and I'll feel so much better. Meal prepping is also a great way to practice this self-care tip because it enables you to make sure that you have healthy food that's ready to go on hand. The second tip is to hydrate. I'm sure you've heard this tip a lot from a lot of videos. I do hear it, but really there's a reason why you hear it over and over again. Drinking water is so stinking important for your body to flush out bad things, to just keep yourself hydrated. Your blood requires you to drink a lot of water. Drinking water is super important. And if you're like me, drinking water used to be a really hard thing for me to do, but I realized that a lot of my headaches were due to dehydration. So drinking water became a must because I realized I did feel so much better when I did drink water. One of the ways that you can make sure that you drink the right amount of water every single day is to carry a water bottle around with you. This really helps me because when I am constantly near toddlers that want to knock over my cups or my drinks, or when I'm on the floor playing a game, or if I'm running from room to room because I'm changing a diaper over here but I'm feeding a baby over there, having a water bottle means it's super easy for me to be holding a kid in one hand and holding my water bottle with the other. Whenever I use a glass, I'm always scared that someone's gonna break it, that it's gonna spill. I'm less likely to bring it from room to room because again, I'm worried it's gonna spill. I'm more likely to have it it near me when I'm working on my laptop because I'm not scared that it's gonna like spill and destroy my laptop. You get the picture. When you use a water bottle, you're able to transport it easier. When I'm heading out the door, I can throw it in my kid's diaper bag. I know this sounds really obvious and really simple, but a lot of people actually still don't do it. So get yourself a water bottle and put your water in it. And I mean, even when you're at home, a water bottle isn't just for when you're going out. When you're at home, put your water in a water bottle because then you're also able to measure the amount of water you're drinking. At the beginning of the day, you can count, okay, I'm gonna drink this many ounces. A lot of people recommend that you drink half your body weight in ounces of water. So for me, I'm about 125, 130 pounds. So I try to drink about 64 or 65 ounces a day, which is about a gallon of water. When I pick up my water bottle in the morning, I go, okay, I'm gonna drink 3 of these bottles. And so it just gives me a really easy thing, like a target to hit. And I always end up drinking that much in the span of a day. The third tip is to get consistent rest. This is truly, yes, as a mom of a newborn and a toddler, this is something that I really believe in. This is a self-care tip that I try to focus on. And I know it's hard when you have a newborn that's waking up in the middle of the night, or if you have kiddos that you're taking care of all during the day, or even if you just work a really demanding job and you work late nights. I know that getting rest can be really, really tough, but guys, you are able to tackle the problems and issues of your day and just your internal struggles so much easier when you're rested. If you're like me and you struggle with anxiety, maybe you struggle with insomnia, I do. It's hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like most of the time when I'm sleeping, I have really bad nightmares where I'll wake up really mentally exhausted and I'll feel like I just didn't sleep at all. But I've learned to just shift my perspective on that because at least I was in bed and laying down instead of having the attitude, oh, well, I'm so stressed, I'm so anxious, I can't sleep, so I'm just gonna sit on social media all night, scrolling on my phone until I feel like sleeping. No, that's not really giving it effort. If you struggle with sleep, I want you to just be as intentional about it as you can. Try as hard as you can to get rest. I will lay down, I will shut my eyes, and I will force myself to inhale deeply and exhale deeply until I get my body to go to sleep. And that doesn't mean I won't have bad nightmares, but 10 times out of 10, if you try to get rest, you're gonna feel way more rested than if you just stayed up with your eyes half open on your phone. So I encourage you, whether or not sleep is an issue, make sleep a priority. Your cells are able to regenerate. Your brain is able to process the experiences and emotions of your day. The World Health Organization has even named sleep deprivation a carcinogen. It means it's a cancer-causing problem. So lack of sleep can actually lead to cancer. They've actually linked that. Go ahead and Google it. Like, don't take my word for it. I read this in an article by the World Health Organization that lack of sleep is actually a carcinogen. And I know you moms who are up all night are thinking, well, then I'm gonna die. But a lot of it does come down to how do you rest when you have time to rest? Are you sitting there thinking over and over and over again about all the things you need to do the next day? You can't do them right now. Right now is for sleeping. You can't go think about washing the dishes and doing the laundry and making that doctor's appointment at 10 o'clock at night. There's no point. There's no point in wasting present time thinking about something that you can't do until tomorrow. And I know that sounds really simple and I struggle with it all the time, but try to be more intentional about when it's time to rest. Get that freaking rest, because from that place of rest, you're gonna be able to tackle that doctor's appointment, that pile of laundry, that pile of dishes so much better with some energy. So getting rest is something that I highly, highly recommend. And if you're like me and you're exhausted by 2 p.m. and your toddler has stopped napping all of a sudden, which is driving me up the wall, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I am like, send all the help, guys. My son is 25 months and he's dropped his nap. That is a side note, and I'm losing my mind. For instance, if you need to be up and at 'em and you don't have a choice, whether you're sitting at a desk putting in hours at your job or you're at home and you still have 5 more hours till your spouse comes home, I want you to try to think about creative ways that you can get rest. If I'm really tired in the afternoon and we still have 4 more hours till my husband comes home, it's time to read a book. It's story time. It's time to play with Legos on the floor. It's time to play with our number board. We do easier activities. So moms, I'm talking to you. We do easier activities at home inside that don't require mom to get to the car and load the stroller and pack the snacks and pack the water and deal with traffic at the park, whatever. Try to just make things easier on yourself. Don't go into worst case scenario, well, I'm so tired and I can't take a nap and everything's falling apart and everything's horrible. When I'm tired and I still have to keep going, I get my second cup of coffee or I get my cup of green tea in the afternoon to just help me get through that afternoon parenting session. And I choose some really fun, easy activities. Reading with my son is one of my favorites because he's super into it and it means he's gonna stay still and it means I get to sit on the couch. So when I say rest, don't think I just mean, oh, you're tired in the middle of the day, go take a nap. Sometimes we can't do that, right? Sometimes we're working at our job, or sometimes we have kids to take care of. And I want you to just realize that rest can be found in a lot of different ways. Sometimes for me, even rest is being aware of what I'm thinking about. And if I'm stressing out about the fact that I'm tired and I just am angry that my husband's not home yet, you know, I have those days. I tell myself to just be grateful for the day that you have and the home that you have. And that's a whole nother thing, just like trying to practice being present and grateful and finding a way to get some sort of rest from where I am right now. I went crazy on that one, but it's because it's important, and it's because I think a lot of moms think that rest is just off the table and that rest is not an option for them. But I really think that if you're determined to get it, you will get it. If you're like me and you struggle with getting to bed in time, I want you to set an alarm on your phone around whenever it is you want to go to bed. For me, it's 10 o'clock. That reminds you and prompts you to start getting ready for bed. So the alarm will go off, and then it's time to brush my teeth, wash my face. Sometimes if I'm feeling really stressed out and I'm having a hard time unwinding, I'll take a really hot shower. Even though I already showered earlier, I'll get back in the shower because that hot water and time to myself in the bathroom just enables me to calm down after the day of, like, you know, dealing with a lot of stuff going on. You get a little bit wound up. Try to be, again, intentional about getting that rest. So don't just jump into bed with your makeup on or feeling gross. You know, take the time, take the 10-15 minutes to brush your teeth, take a shower so that you can feel ready to go to bed. Another thing I want to say about rest is to make sure that you turn off your screens at least an hour, if you can, even more time before you go to bed. Studies have shown that the blue light that emits from our screens, whether it's a phone, a tablet, or a laptop, or a TV screen, whatever, these screens emit blue light, which tricks our brain into thinking that it's daytime and tells us to be awake. So it messes with our melatonin production, which melatonin is the hormone that controls your wakefulness. So if you can turn off those screens and not be on your phone scrolling right before you shut your eyes, you're gonna get better sleep. So one of the things I try to do is turn off my phone on time. Like if you set that alarm, maybe that can prompt you to go, okay, it's time to get ready for bed. It's time to turn off my phone.
So my last tip might seem super obvious because it's exercise. And I know we're talking about physical self-care, so you're like, duh. But the reason why I wanted to add it to the list is because it is truly something that I try to do every single day, even as somebody who is knee deep in motherhood right now. And I know some of you with 6 children are like, give me a break, you have 2 kids, but everyone's heart is different. Let me just say that. But I wanted to bring this up because I think a lot of people just say, oh, I'm too busy. I have all these kids, I can't exercise. And I think that's BS. I really think that you can exercise in some small way even, or some simple way, if you're intentional about it when you wake up, or if you plan your week out like I try to do now, which y'all, planning your week out is a game changer, but we'll talk about that later. I really do think that there are ways that we can exercise, all of us, no matter how busy your schedule is, no matter how much you have on your plate, you can exercise if you just set realistic goals for yourself. So what does practicing exercise every single day look like for somebody who's super busy or who has a lot of responsibility? It looks like trying to choose the simplest thing that you can do, really. The simplest, for me, that is 10 minutes of yoga. That's a 15-minute cardio workout. Sometimes it's just getting your kids to the park and making sure that I walk around a lot at the park to get my exercise in, to get my vitamin D in. What I'm trying to say is that if you feel like you had a plan, like I'm gonna do 20 minutes of Pilates every single day, and then, you know, you miss Monday and then you miss Tuesday because they were really hectic days, or maybe you have a sick kid, that doesn't mean that you have to quit altogether. That doesn't mean you have to throw in the towel and go, I already messed up my weekly plan, because guys, I've been there. It's so embarrassing just because I can't check off all the boxes and my life doesn't look perfect and even and well planned out that I want to throw in the towel. No, I encourage you that if you miss Monday and you miss Tuesday, don't throw in the towel. Think, okay, maybe this is going to be a crazy week. There's a lot going on, but what can I do to care for my physical body? What can I do for physical fitness? One of the things that really helps me is YouTube videos. Pop Sugar Fitness is a channel that I love to use because they have all kinds of different workouts, and in the title of all the workouts, they tell you how long it is. So if I feel like I only have about 15 minutes until my baby starts crying again, then I choose a 15-minute workout, and I tell my toddler, my 2-year-old, mommy's gonna exercise now, and he'll dance around me the whole time and try to run through my legs, and he climbs on my back when I'm on the floor. And honestly, it just means I have an extra 30-pound weight that I get to lift while I'm exercising. So don't look at your current circumstances and what you're dealing with as a downside. You know, the fact that I have a kid that might be crying while I'm exercising and another kid that wants me to play, you know, a YouTube video for him instead of a YouTube video for me, it doesn't mean that I can't exercise. Yes, it's challenging, but
mommy needs her exercise. And that's what I tell my 2-year-old every single time I work out. I'm like, mommy needs to exercise, only 10 more minutes. And if you're one of those moms that struggles with giving your kid 100% of your attention all the time and you feel guilty when you don't, because I know I struggle with that, realize that you're teaching them that there are other people around them that have needs, and that you're showing them that you can take care of yourself, and you're showing them the importance of exercise. Again, I do spend a lot of time counting my exercises, going to a park and doing some laps around the park. So I want to encourage you, if you feel like you have a lot going on and you just are overwhelmed by the idea of committing to a workout routine, then don't commit to a workout routine. Every day, start fresh with something that you can do based on what's going on that day. I like to have a handful of ideas at hand so that if I have a lot going on and kids are crying and screaming at me and I can't think clearly and I'm sleep deprived, that I can really easily reach for those different options. Again, for me, that's going to a YouTube video that's only 10 minutes long of yoga, or that's waiting till my husband gets home and all the kids are asleep and I do 10 minutes of yoga or 10 minutes of stretching, or that's counting taking my kids to the park as a workout by making sure that I do some lunges while my kid's going down the slide, and I don't care who's watching me, I'm gonna do my lunges. But seriously, don't quit on yourself just because the circumstances of your life make it inconvenient for you to take care of yourself. So those are my tips and ideas for you on physical self-care. Don't forget to schedule it. Use your phone or your planner to help you remember to take your vitamins and drink your water and get some sleep and whatever else you need help with. Try to use technology or have a friend or your spouse or your partner be your accountability person so that you really can prioritize your physical self-care. Because again, if you prioritize your physical self-care, the mental and emotional self-care, it kind of flows from that. I would love to hear what all of you guys do for your physical self-care. These 4 things were just things that I'm trying to implement in my life right now. I do not do it perfectly, but I love to hear other ideas, other simple ways that we can care for ourselves physically when we're busy and we have a lot going on and a lot of responsibility. Because I honestly used to live by this mentality that when my kids are older, then I'll be able to take care of myself. And when my kids are older, then I'll be able to get the rest that I need. And you guys, I don't want to wait to live later. My kids need a healthy version of me now, and I need a healthy version of me now. So if you're in the same boat as me, especially if you're a mama, please let me know what you do to take care of yourself. How do you remind yourself to prioritize you? Is it something that comes automatically and naturally to you, or is it something you really have to work hard to remember to do? Also, before we end this video, I wanted to remind you to subscribe to my channel and like this video by giving it a big thumbs up to help other people find it, and hit the notification bell if you want to be reminded about the next video that's coming up in this self-care series. It's going to be self-care ideas and tips for your mind. Also, I'm really excited to share that I'm designing a mental wellness planner and guide that basically is a 90-day journal that helps you plan your self-care for every single day, week, and month. This is something that I'm working on, really, not to sound selfish, but really for me, because I haven't really found something that helps me to prioritize myself and my self-care. I really think that taking care of yourself, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, is the key to having peace and really being able to live life to the fullest. And I've yet to find something that really has worked for me. And I'm a planner junkie. I've tried so many different journals and planners, but I just decided that it was time that I made something for myself to help fill this gap in my life. So I am working on it. I'm really excited about it. It's almost done, and I wanted to share it with you. So I'll leave a link down below for you to sign up to be notified when it is available. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, please share with me your different tips and ideas for physical self-care, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.